Hey everyone, this is Rob,
And Michelle.
and welcome to Boon Babe, your weekly podcast on everything you need to know about old school RuneScape. All right, so this week up on the docket, of course, as always, we're going to start off with what we've been up to this week and any updates we might have, and then we'll be going right into this week's actual update for OSRS, which is not very big at all.
But it's a makeover improvement, which is actually kind of fun.
Yeah, it's really interesting, as I didn't think I saw this coming. So I don't think many people expected this to happen, but it's kind of a cool update. We'll be going over that. And then also there is going to be no update next week for anyone wondering, because the Game
Jam.
yeah, the semi-annually assigned Gam Jam is happening. So there's not going to be anything next week. And this week is also very light, unfortunate. So it's just going to be one of those times where there's not a ton to go over. But we do have some more stuff, including a Q&A about the recent skill, answering some questions that us and the community might have had from the mods.
They definitely answered some of my questions, which is nice.
Yeah, so we'll be covering a little bit of that, some of the more interesting points, and then we'll be probably going right into our questions right after that. So again, our Q&A. If you have any questions for the podcast, whether it be gaming related or otherwise, let us know. You can find us through all of our social medias. And probably the best place would be joining our Discord, where you can hang out and play games with us if you want.
Yep, links in description, and I'll go over it at the end of the episode.
Yes, of course. But before we get into any of that, Michelle, how's it going?
It's going really well. I really wanted to get another skill level this week, so naturally I didn't.
Nice.
I got
pretty
close, though. My agility is only like 25k away from 90. And I was doing it, but then I just got distracted.
Yeah.
We are actually recording this all on Thursday instead of the half Wednesday, half Thursday. I've been a little bit tired because I've been doing the part-time job too. So yesterday we were going to record, and then I was like, I'm just going to lay down for a second. And we both fell asleep for like an hour and a half. So
that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Do you guys ever do that? You're like, just a second. Wake up 2 hours later, like, where am I?
Yeah, that's how naps happen.
Naps just, I always feel so weird after. Anyway, so no new skill for me, no new level for me. But I did do raids this week. I've been actually doing like chambers as well as TOA, like kind of an equal amount this week, which has been fun.
Nice.
We haven't seen a single chamber split though, which is unfortunate. But in raids, in TOA rather, per usual, I saw a ring split. Wow. It was 1 mil each because there's a lot of us.
Yeah.
It was actually like 980,000. And Wraith was making fun of me for still taking the split. And I'm like, I'm saving for a shadow.
Yeah.
No shame.
I guess, every
a
billion.
Mill's a mill.
Every billion starts with a million.
Exactly. Now I sound like an annoying billionaire.
Yeah, you're like every dollar adds up towards your fortune.
Yeah, except for that's not really how it works. It's just every once in a while you get a big drop, and that really adds to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did get a bigger split as well. Somebody got Missouri Trap, so that was 23 mil.
Nice.
That was nice. 24 mil this week. Those are the only drops I got though. Mate.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I might have also hit 64 million farming XP. I think something like that. Something egregious, for lack of a better word.
It's not even halfway to max.
It's like over a quarter of the way to max.
Okay, I guess.
It's almost a third of the way.
It's like not even a big deal.
Oh my god, if I get to 200 mil without Tango Root, I will cry. And I'm probably
pretty sure I would have gotten the pet already.
I mean, you got the agility pet in your GIM so fast. And then remember, Alfresco got the farming pet in our GIM so fast.
Yeah, like who doesn't get pets?
You guys are taunting
easily?
me. Literally taunting me. It's messed up.
Oh well.
But
anything else?
No, just been doing a lot of raids, and we tried to do a cheeky 420 last night for the memes because it's 420 today.
Shout out Bob Marley.
We made it all the way to the last row of wardens, and then everyone died around me, and then I realized everyone died around me, and I choked.
I saw that. Yeah. You're like...
I stepped to the side, and then I stepped immediately back right under my own boulder.
Yeah, it was really weird.
And I literally had like 2 doses of ambrosia. I only had 300 health left. It's like as soon as I see that's only me, the pressure crushes me, and I just crumble.
You just stop thinking?
I stop thinking, and I'm just like, must move, and then move under my own stuff.
Why would you walk there?
I could not tell you, man.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate. So no cheeky 420s. Well, no finished cheeky 420s. But we did do like some 380s and stuff, like kind of raising the level because I've not been doing very high level. Still haven't started that Akka grind.
Yeah.
I don't know when that's going to happen.
Probably soon.
Never. Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay.
We finished up with the Call of Dragons sponsorship. It went really well. I was able to get 20 people to do it, which was super exciting.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's still fun. I'm still playing it.
Yeah, Robert and I are still playing. It's funny. A couple people have like left our alliance because we're not active in the chat.
We're not cool enough.
Yeah, like one person left because they're like really quiet in chat, but it was like the middle of the night.
It was at 3:30 a.m.
Guess they were just in a different time zone. But I was like, oh, I was not online. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm still having fun with it. And I actually started a new sponsorship this week.
So this episode is brought to you by
Mech Arena.
There we go.
Yeah, if you guys remember, if you listened way back then, I did a sponsorship with them in like November, December?
Yeah.
Maybe even before. But either way, it's like a robot.
It's a robot arena shooter.
Yeah, and it's so much fun. Like, having War Thunder, then Call of Dragons, and now Mech Arena, I'm like, this is just great. I'm having so much fun with these sponsors.
Yeah, I was thinking that it must be, like, nice to have, like, sponsors that you actually play. Because I know sometimes, like, you'll get, especially back in the day, I guess, like, a lot of sponsors I saw that people would take are, like, things that I know they wouldn't do or use or play. So it's nice to have, I guess, sponsors that are actually, relatively fun.
It's cool too because like stuff like Call of Dragons, Mech Arena, War Thunder, like I wouldn't have thought I would like these games. And then I was like, let's just do the sponsorship and try it out. And I'm like, okay, I'm really enjoying this. I think that Mech Arena is a good stream game too because you could compete against other people.
Yeah.
Call of Dragons, as much as I loved it, it probably wasn't actually a good stream game.
No, RuneScape should do some sponsored.
They honestly
streams.
should, but who knows if they ever would.
Yeah, I feel like I've never seen them do any sponsored streams, which is funny because I've seen like almost every other game do it.
Yeah, right? I mean, most of the other games, they are like more like gacha games, like people will spend money on it.
Well, even I was also thinking about like how like Twitch has Twitch drops. Like there's plenty of games that have Twitch drops, which usually actually pretty closely doubles the amount of viewers that it gets.
Oh yeah, but still, I feel like has the Albion drops all the time, and like always has so many viewers.
Yeah, like New World is relatively a dead game nowadays, but whenever it has drops, it like has an actual amount of people watching it on Twitch, which is
people
surprising.
Like to just get free things.
Yeah.
They can do that.
I mean, it's definitely obviously not the best engagement because people are usually just sitting there AFK with their screen open, so they get the drop.
It really helps your average viewer counts, I'm sure.
Yeah, I wonder why. It seems. Well, I actually don't wonder why. I'm pretty sure I know exactly why.
Is it because people are gonna be like, it'll break the game?
No, I was gonna say I wonder why like RuneScape doesn't put more into their advertising like that, and I think it's just because as a company they're seemingly pretty cheap.
Yeah, I get that vibe sometimes.
Yeah, because they don't sponsor any videos or put out any like stuff like that.
They've only just recently started collaborating with bigger like content creators.
Yeah, and by collaborating, you mean like
they voice their videos.
They'll say, "Oh, these people exist every like once a month or something."
They had some people like voicing videos for them, I believe.
Well, yeah, Jimmy's done that a couple times, but
like not to the degree that other games do.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could step it up a little bit. That'd be cool to see some people.
Yeah, because like I don't know, I feel like it is kind of this is like a weird tangent, but I do feel like it's kind of like lucky for OSRS that it's like become relevant in like the past like few years, but also I feel like they're like not taking advantage of that. And like I've seen games do that where they like are becoming popular for some reason, but because the company like doesn't like try to execute on that, they like fall into obscurity like slowly.
I hope that doesn't happen. I don't think it will.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've seen plenty of like older games do that.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Sad.
Oh well.
But yeah, Mech Arena, if you want to play, I'll try to remember to include the link in this description. Future me, when you're editing, put the Mech Arena link. So it could be any device, and you have to get to Division 9. The best way to get to Division 9 is basically to get MVP every round for like 5 rounds after you're out on the tutorial. Easier said than done. I think I got it 2 times in a row, and then I ended up like not doing it. My Division 9 took me a very long time. If you're good at shooters, it won't. Like Ivor, one of our mods, it took him like 20 minutes. For me, it took me like over an hour.
Yeah,
so I was also streaming and distracted. But
just be good at the game.
Yeah, if you're good at the game, it'll go by faster. We also have a video that I'm going to share on Discord and under my announcements to show how to get to level 9 quickly. And yeah, let me know if any of you guys play twitch.tv/boonbabe. I am having a lot of fun playing with people I know, and I'd prefer that. So if you like it, let me know.
Yeah.
Because I'll be playing on Friday.
Yeah, thanks for helping out the stream if you do that.
Thank you.
And do you have anything else?
Not that I could think of right now. How have you been?
Pretty good. I have really just done a little bit of Motherload Mine, and
Mining life.
yeah, I think I'm really close to 200 nuggets now. Again, I still don't know what I'll use it for besides
The
maybe gem
bags.
packs or something like that.
The coal
Speaking
bag.
speaking of gem packs, I actually already have the coal bag.
Oh.
But speaking of the gem packs, that streamer I was telling you about that got over 1 million Stardust, she actually got banned. That account got banned.
Oh, then she got unbanned, right?
No, I don't know if she's gotten unbanned, but I know she made a video well, what happened is I think that account got banned at one point and then it got unbanned, but recently she made a video saying that it got banned again.
Do they think it was botting or something?
Yeah.
That's why whenever people like see people doing random stuff and they're like, "Oh, that's a bot," I never feel certain. People have the weirdest accounts.
Well, the thing is, it's hard if it's just a one-off thing like that. But usually, the things that's really telling if it's a bot is you can go to Motherload Mine almost any time of the day, and there will be like 3 bots right on top of each other, or 3 accounts right on top of each other, all with really weird names. Usually, it's like 4 numbers, 4 letters, and then 4 numbers, and they all move exactly the same and have the exact same XP on all 3 accounts.
That's funny.
It's like at that point, those are almost certainly bots, right? Like there's no way that someone's like, oh, let me make 3 accounts and make them look as bot-like as possible.
That'd be a good idea to just make a bunch of very bot-looking accounts. See
That'd
how
be
long it takes you to get
That'd
banned.
be a terrible idea.
Just as like a little experiment to see how long it takes.
Yeah, but yeah. Besides that, really not much. Just a bit of mining and stuff like that. Yeah, that's really it.
That was your real life update?
Yeah.
Just been mining away.
Just mining away in real life.
The coals.
Yep, coal mine. Unfortunate. I am the canary. But that is, I think, it for personal updates. So we can move on to the actual update for this week.
Yeah, makeover improvements.
Makeover improvements, indeed. So this came out on April 18th, and there's already been quite a few hot fixes. Apparently, some people had disappearing hair and stuff like that, but
disappearing altogether too.
Hopefully, most of it has been fixed. There's been a very rare combination of hair, facial hair, and hair colors that will show the incorrect chat head. That is still under investigation. On top of that, there is another one where they receive reports that turning off quick prayers in PvP is not consistent, and so they're currently looking into that as well.
That one is not fixed yet.
No, neither of those are fixed. Everything else seems to hopefully have been fixed. Also, apparently, this was actually kind of annoying, is that Muspa was hitting through prayer, and this has been hotfixed as well.
Thank God, that must be so annoying.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people having trouble with Muspa recently, so hopefully that is one thing. I think Muspa might still be busted in another way, but I don't know exactly. I haven't been there.
Yeah.
But some people say that the boss is much harder now for some reason, or because of that. Either way, though, we have the Gam Jam, kind of like what we said in the beginning. It is going on right now for the first one of 2023. There's usually 2 of these every year. They last about a week, I think.
I think it's a week, yeah.
Yeah.
Week or 2 weeks.
Yeah, they last a week or 2. And this, for anyone that doesn't know, is when all of the mods have like a little brainstorming session for like a week where they come up with new ideas for the game. And there is going to be no update whenever this happens, which is going to be next week. So this is a little mini update that actually came out early. There's not going to be an actual update besides this week.
I think that this might have been from the Gam Jam last time.
Yeah, probably.
This week's update.
And then there's going to be no update next week. Maybe they'll have a blog or something like that, but no actual update.
Yeah, but we could try to keep an eye on Twitter and see like what little sneak peeks we could get.
Yeah, so we'll try to keep you updated with anything that might be happening next week. And for any one that wants extra stuff, we'll try to make it so that the episode's a little more interesting, even though there's probably not going to be any update.
We'll try to find other topics.
Yeah, so we'll take a look at that. Also, there's going to be this will be shared in the May edition of the Gilnor Gazette, so you can follow along with everything that is happening by keeping an eye on the socials tagged OSRS Game Jam. So you can see all of the teasers there and interact with the devs. But yeah, just a little bit of an update for everyone wondering where the update will be next week.
Awesome. Moving right into the makeover improvements. For the last 20 years, Gilnor's hairdressing industry has been a monopoly overseen by a single ponytailed gentleman and a rat with the most powerful legs in the region. It's time for some fresh blood, and that's where Emma and Susie come in.
Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, I think the only place to get your hair done was in Falador before.
It was. I feel a little bamboozled, by the way. Okay, I'll read it first. So these Fashionable Sisters have opened up a new salon in East Fair Rock where you can get fully prepared for your next Fashionscape event on World 330. Emma has introduced some very chic new hairstyles for you to sport about town, so chat to her for a new do of your choice. The best part, her services are absolutely free. What a revolution.
So for anyone wondering where this might be, it is in between the Varrock Museum and the Varrock Church. So
Yes.
you've definitely been to the church to do the quest for Romeo and Juliet, and you've probably been to the museum to turn in anything or get the pendant for Fossil Island.
So I went and did this before I read the update. I was so confused because I was asking the chat where the new person was, and they're like, "It's just Falador. You just go to Falador." I've not even been to the actual salon yet, the new one.
Oh, really?
I just went to Falador and got a free haircut.
Why'd you go to Falador?
Because chat was telling me that's the only way. I thought that it was just new hairstyles, and I was like, "Oh, I guess I didn't introduce those people after all." Whoops.
Wow, why would you trust chat? What's wrong with you?
I know, right? Anyway, as a bonus, hairstyles are no longer dependent on your chosen character model. You can sport whatever lovely locks you like. Before, they were weirdly gender locked.
Yeah.
We've also made changes to the hairstyle changing interface. You'll find this easier than ever to decide on a new do, and it's a good job because we've added 5 new fabulous hair colors for you to try.
Also, it's kind of funny because some of the more popular responses to this update were people saying that it's kind of like weird that this is free and they would prefer it cost money.
Really?
Yeah, because, well, I mean, I guess it kind of does make sense. One, it just doesn't make sense that that is the case. And two, I guess like they're saying like thematically, it doesn't make sense why a hairdresser wouldn't charge anything.
I think it's just because in other games, character customization is free and can be done anytime. And RuneScape's just weird.
That's not
Like,
true.
we
And
have
World of
to-
Warcraft, it costs money.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never played a game, I should say, that you have to pay for that.
Yeah. I was like, in WoW, you can go to the hairdresser and yeah, it costs money.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I was just thinking most games I played, you could customize your characters anytime you want. It's just RuneScape is different in that we don't have like an edit page, so you have to like kind of put NPCs into the game for it.
Yeah, I don't know how it works in most other games, but in the few that I remember, it usually costs some kind of like gold or something like that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, some of the hairstyles are pretty cool. Like they have what everyone has. So many people I know have been doing is like the e-girl pigtails. It's like 2 pigtails, rather than just being on the side, which look kind of insane, like actually on the back of your head and having bangs.
Yeah.
The one I chose are 2 little braids, like little French braids. They have like undercuts. They have like Viking style hairstyles. They have a lot of really cool ones.
Yeah, and they have all the OG ones for anyone that just wants
Yes.
the
They did
old
not get rid of the old ones.
dreadlock look or spiked hair or anything like that. They
Everyone
still
loves
have
the
all of
spikes.
those, and they have a full panel of different colored swatches.
Yeah,
so
they
you
added
can-
some like colorful pastels and things.
Yeah, so you can choose through all of them, all the way from red to yellow to black and white. So you can, cosplay the old wise man if you want.
Yeah, I switched my hair color to a new darker purple. So for any of you that have built a dresser in your POH, we've changed the way these work by removing the option to give you a random haircut. And instead, most dressers will now let you choose your hairstyle freely. So what are you waiting for? Head to the new salon today and style yourself silly. Chop chop.
I think the hairdresser in your house, because you're not like obviously an expert hairdresser, should just give you like a messed up haircut, but like a different one. Like there's like 5 different.
Like unlockables.
No, just like random, because like I cut my own hair and I used to mess it up like really bad.
There's
Still-
been some interesting
Still not
techniques.
that good to be fair, but I wish there was like, because you're just in your house. And I don't even know is there a mirror on the hairdresser? Do you know?
It looked like there's a mirror in the new one.
Oh,
In the
okay.
pictures. Yeah,
Oh,
there is.
yeah.
Oh, they
I
also
guess-
have like mohawks too.
Yeah, I guess that's cool. But yeah, I feel like it'd be cool. Like whenever you did it, there's a chance that you get one of the 5 messed up haircuts.
That'd be funny.
Because it's like, oh, you just didn't do a good job this time.
That kind of reminds me, like in Animal Crossing New Horizons, if you don't log in for 2 weeks, your character unlocks the bedhead hairstyle,
Yeah,
which I've never
you
unlocked
just
because I
are
do too much.
sleeping forever.
Basically, you have that.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No,
I
it's
logged
fine.
you in to show you.
No, it's fine.
Whatever. Anyway,
Moving on to the Desert Treasure 2 beta. So for
Beta.
anyone that participated in the Desert Treasure 2 / Bounty Hunter beta, where all of the rewards were unlocked and usable for everyone, that's now actually been closed. So they wanted to thank everyone for their participation and feedback, but that is all they needed.
that's all she wrote.
And not really actually, because they obviously, for anyone that had tried it out or had seen the commotion around that, there's a lot of feedback going into this. A lot of people felt like the new spellbook or prayer book was incredibly powerful, especially alongside all of the new items. And also, a lot of people felt like maybe this was just a lot of new content all at once, which really was a lot of power creep. And so, with all of that feedback, they decided to close it for now, especially considering the game jam is happening. They didn't want to just put out an update and then like leave for an entire week.
Yeah.
So they said that so far, this week we made the decision to end the beta for now. We're extremely grateful to all your feedback you've shared with us so far, but with the game jam, external playtests, and bank holidays on the horizon, as well as polishing up the quests and bosses themselves, we don't feel we're in the position to make significant changes to the rewards in beta. And it's clear the significant changes are needed to get these rewards into a healthier spot. With everything you've shared so far, we'll be taking some time to iterate and improve behind the scenes before opening up another beta sometime in May, actioning many of the changes, using the extra time to put together a better offering that we feel absolutely nails it. So they'll be taking a deeper look at the ruinous powers and their levels of power, the effects of other rewards like the Virtus or the upgraded Ancient Scepter, and considering a large point of feedback that perhaps we feel like it was a little too much all at once.
Mm-hmm.
So
there was a lot going on.
Yeah, so that is it for now. They are not going to be going forward with another one until like we saw May, so at least not for another couple weeks. And yeah, so this really covers most of the points. Is that a lot of people felt like there's just a lot happening all at once, a lot of power being introduced into the game, obviously in the form of new best in slot items and new extremely powerful
prayer books
that also just really didn't work too well to begin with. A lot of bugs and stuff like that, so we don't really know exactly how they would work with all the bugs ironed out. But I think that's honestly probably a good idea if they don't feel like they can work on it for now, to just not have
just wait a second.
Yeah, not have it available.
Take a breather.
Yeah, and then come back with it slightly in a better place, and then we can see how it goes from there.
Yeah, they do say, though, that as we continue to refine our designs for the new prayers, it's important to note that in line with our new polling process, nothing is set in stone at this point. The only polls we've run so far are opinion polls to help guide our design work, which means we very much don't consider anything to be off the table at this point. All options are still open to us, and indeed, after further iterations, these prayers still don't feel like for old school, we don't need to continue moving forward with them.
Yeah,
so don't panic if you're like, it's never gonna work. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people starting to share the sentiment that maybe we don't need a new prayer book.
I'm just like whatever about it.
If it's this prayer book, especially. Mm-hmm. So you don't care though?
I don't know. I kind of just like, it kind of just doesn't feel like we're getting really a new prayer book.
Yeah.
I don't know. It all sounds fake to me, low-key.
Okay.
Just in my own little world, people are like, what do you think of the prayer book? And I'm like, I didn't dream that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm just kind of like whatever about it, strangely. What about you?
From what I've seen, just like exactly how I and a lot of people anticipated, the chip damage is really annoying.
Yeah, of course.
For the prayers with the overheads, obviously. And on top of that, it is just really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how anyone would not like straight up require these prayers to do like a lot of the content after it's introduced. Like they're so incredibly strong that there's like no reason to ever use the old one unless it's like a niche situation.
I still feel like I'd use the normal one just because it protects you more.
I mean, yeah, but if you kill the things so much faster,
you don't need to protect.
Yeah, exactly. Like in RuneScape, it's always been offense over defense.
Mm-hmm.
So
I still have such a hard time with that sometimes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, defense. It's so funny. That's like a totally different thing. But defense actually doesn't even exist in RuneScape. It's actually just a weird dodging mechanic.
Oh yeah, like Mia Baba. Whenever I'm alone, I'm just running around trying to shoot him.
No,
that's my defense.
I mean, like how the defense points actually doesn't make you take less damage. You just take damage less frequently.
Oh yeah.
Like there's no actual defense in the way most people think about it.
It's a fun game we play.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think overall, I honestly wouldn't care if it was or wasn't put into the game. Like I kind of just don't care either way.
Yeah, both of us are like meh, whatever.
Yeah, if they decided not to, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. And if they did it after refining it, then I guess that'd be fine. But it is.
You'd still be like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it is still really strong though, so it's kind of hard to justify it at the moment.
No, that's totally fair. But I mean, like they said, it will be getting some changes.
Yeah,
We'll just have to wait and see.
I do think it's a lot all at once though.
That with Bounty Hunter?
No, it's just all of the rewards because you have like 3 new best in slot rings, which means 4, which means 3 new ways to get new max hits. And you have the Virtus robes, which are technically better. So you have new, max hits with the ancients. And then the scepters also make it that much stronger for PvP and PvE with all the blood spells and stuff like that. I don't know. It does seem kind of a lot all at once as far as like additions of power.
Yeah. Someone actually made kind of a good point on the YouTube comment for last week's episode. I worded this the most crazy. Because you were talking about the rings, there being 3. No, there's actually 4.
Yeah, there's actually 4.
Yeah, Wyvern said, to be honest, I don't get why they aren't giving the same strength bonus that the Berserker ring has, so that all the melee rings, so that all of them can be useful and not dead content.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about that last week. We were like, the 4th ring, it's just like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Because no one uses it's the Warriors ring, right?
Yeah, the Warriors ring, because it's already like we said last week, it's immediately dead content.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, no one will use it. Like the amount of people that use the Warrior ring now is practically 0. Like you only do that if you are an iron or you are extremely poor. Mm-hmm. Which even if you are, doesn't last that long because the Warrior ring has become so cheap, and so has the Berserker.
Exactly.
Like maybe back then the Berserker used to be like 7 mil. I remember like years ago.
At least it was more than the Warrior, though. I think.
No, it's always been more than the Warrior, but like back then it was like 7 mil, which was like, all right, that's kind of expensive. Like you might want to buy other gear first, but now it's so cheap. It's like, kind of like real life, like with inflation and everything like that. Like it doesn't cost that much. Like it's not hard to get.
The economy's in shambles.
It absolutely is.
I actually have a note on that in our next section of the notes.
Is it about the bots?
No, it's not about the bots.
Oh,
You'll
wow.
see.
Okay. Either way, yeah, I don't know. It does seem like a lot. I'm not against it though. I know a lot of people are like running away from the idea of all the change.
I'm embracing it.
It does feel like a lot though. It seems understandable.
Yeah. It's okay to get stressed about change.
Yeah, but moving on, we have news of the Fresh Start Worlds becoming the old Start Worlds. Get it?
So good.
Yeah, so good.
Fresh Worlds are over.
They are over. So if you have any characters in the Fresh Start Worlds, they have now likely been migrated to the main game. Unless you have, and they said this whenever they first started, unless you have any like things in the Grand Exchange, you have to take those out first before your character is migrated.
Yeah, you are free to go reclaim your items involved.
Yes.
In trading.
Yeah, so make sure to take those out, and then your character will be transferred over. But yeah, that is it for the Fresh Start Worlds.
That's what I was talking about whenever I was talking about the economy.
Oh.
All those people just came in with like all these drops that they're now selling. So everything's dropped down in price.
Well, yeah, but I mean, also they have a GE over there. They could have just sold it over there.
I know, but I'm sure some people didn't.
I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't. It was more expensive over there.
I don't know. I'm just trying to find any reason why everything's gotten cheaper.
Oh, I definitely don't know why. But,
I still think it's so funny. Shout out Andon for this. Andon's always stressed about like Shadow going down. He's like, oh my god, Shadow's only worth like 1.3 something. I'm like, oh, are you gonna sell it? He's like, no. And I'm like, then why does it matter?
True. Also, like if you are concerned with the price of something, you should just sell it right away when it's new, because it'll only ever go down.
True. Yeah, you can't expect it to like hold its price for years unless it's the cheaper Shadow.
Oh, let's go check the price of the scythe. Oh, it's been out for like ever. It's like 1/5 of the price that it used to be. So it's like obviously it's not going to go up suddenly unless they're all like going
up a little bit. Actually,
they're like actually all 4 of the new bosses only are weak to slash damage and can be. They're large, so they can be hit 4 times. So it's like, what? Unless that happens, it's not going to go up.
I'm a little like iffy because I bought a scythe. I told you guys a few weeks ago, if you were here, I spent like 350 mil on a scythe. It started going up in value now. I bought it when it was that cheap just because Saint Wraith, one of our mods, pointed out, like, if you're going to buy it, you might as well get it now whenever it's cheap, because I used to want one.
Yeah.
And now that it's going up in price, I'm like, dang, now I like don't want to sell it back ever. I don't know. I don't know if I'd still sell it to get...
You don't even use it. Just sell it.
I've been using it this week. I've been doing Chambers more.
You did like 2 KC at Chambers.
He's lying. I did like at least 6.
Okay, over the whole week maybe.
You know what? It's been a really sleepy week.
Yeah.
I'm a working gal.
I mean, it's not like the extra money would make a difference to you anyways.
No, it's not going to become a real issue until I have a bill cash stack. And then I'm like, ooh, do I sell it for the shadow?
Yeah. And then at that point, you probably will because you use the shadow way more.
I do a lot of TOA. Shadow, I feel like I could use more places than Scythe too.
Yeah. It's just the content you do doesn't really use the Scythe unless you start randomly doing TOV like
Which
today.
I need to do sometime. I kind of forgot about Tob.
Yeah. But yeah, either way, kind of like a weird thing. I guess as far as like selling your items, yeah, it doesn't really matter unless you're about to buy something else.
Question for anyone who cares. Why, if you're keeping an item, do you care about the value going down? If you're not planning on selling it, it's just so weird to me that people care about their bank value. Because I always think of it as a buyer rather than a seller, I guess. Yeah. So, like, I hear shadows going down, and I'm like, good, let it go down more so I can afford it. Like, that's fine. I guess it's like, I don't want items because they're worth a lot. I want items because they work well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want a shadow because it's so expensive. I want a shadow because they smack.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Makes sense. Moving on to the final changes. The effects of poison on penance healers has been restored.
Hasn't that been an issue for like a month?
This has been an issue since they did the poison change. Yeah, I don't know.
At least a month ago.
So many weeks ago. So yeah, a lot of people have been really, really sad about the state of Barbarian Assault. So now hopefully that's been fixed and hopefully they can get back to doing what they like. Because there's a lot of people that only play this game for Barbarian Assault, surprisingly enough.
Fun. A lot of people get paid a ton of money to carry people to their fighter's torso too. Oh, yeah. I love BA, but I am not that efficient to carry anyone.
Even besides that, there are people that only log in to play Barbarian Assault. So now that's been fixed. Hopefully they can enjoy it once again. And there's also, to end this off, there is another Crack the Clue. So if anyone's still into that, they're still doing it. So
please figure it out so I could see what is
I feel like there's probably like a handful of people that still are like interested in this and doing this actively.
I think there's a Discord for it, like a dedicated Discord.
Oh, I know. Yeah, there is. There's a dedicated I think there's a dedicated Reddit as well, but it's like really inactive.
Yeah, so that's why we have to keep mentioning it. So then maybe someone will listen and be like, you know what? Maybe I'll look into it. And you can be the one to solve it all.
Eventually, they will not be updating us with these anymore, which will be cool.
If it ever finishes. Yeah. I don't know. Woox is like actually too good.
Maybe. But that is it for the update this week. Not a ton going on. Unfortunate. But we do have a little bit of a mod Q&A. This was with kind of what I envision as like the main 3 developers, or whenever I see them, or mods, which is Aiza, Elena, and Husky. Obviously, there's Kieran and all the other ones that aren't here, but I don't know why.
These are 3 that we see a lot.
Yeah, I kind of see these 3 a lot, which makes me just imagine them as like the main 3 whenever I do see them.
The golden trio.
Yeah. But they are answering a lot of questions about the most recent poll with sailing and any sailing questions. A lot of really good answers to go over here. Definitely. Obviously, without being said, we're not going to go over all of them because there's a ton, but with really good answers. But we are going to go over some of the ones that we thought were a little more interesting.
I did want to say one reaction that we got last week's episode was Bacon Man saying, "So sad. I feel sailing's just going to be a flop. I hope they could turn it around."
Yeah,
I don't think it'll be a flop, but I really hope it goes well.
Yeah.
It's like I say, I really hope it goes well.
I think potentially it'll either be like too good when it comes out, or it'll be a disappointment.
I think some people are going to be disappointed no matter what.
Well, yeah, obviously.
But I don't see it being a badly done skill, just because the amount of like communication, I guess, that's going to be going into it.
Yeah, potentially.
Like endless polls, it seems.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I think could make it really like not interesting is if like the content loop is really boring or something like that.
But that would just make it like other skills.
Or maybe there's like no reason to do the skill past like a certain level. Then I could see that happening. I really doubt it's going to be like a well-made skill when it first comes out.
They'll probably have to have some hotfixes and stuff the first few weeks.
It'll take a few months after it comes out for it to feel like better.
That's true. That's like everything that they first introduced. They're like, all right, we need to fix this. Remember how powerful the Fang used to be?
Yeah,
for a
exactly.
few months.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't fix that sooner.
They should have never fixed it.
Yeah, that was weird. But yeah, I don't think it'll be good on release. I think that's the least likely thing. I think it'll either be too good or too not good.
I think it'll be good regardless. I just hope it's really fun.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the mechanics of it. I think they'll get that ironed out in the betas and stuff like that. But yeah, I just don't know if it'll be the best as far as the cycle of the game goes.
But anyway, the first question, which is what we were definitely asking.
Yeah.
Why didn't we pull sailing and shamanism against each other since they're so close? That's Robert's question. And then my question, why aren't we looking to refine both skills?
Yeah.
Those are like our two main concerns last week, so I'm so glad that they answered this.
To be fair, I hear what Aiza is saying here, but also I feel like it's a bad answer.
Do you want to read it?
Yeah, so he starts off by saying, if you remember back in the original blogs, we talked about the skill process and how we'll approach it in different stages. We said that we might end up in a situation where we have to pull two skills against each other if the result isn't clear. If you look at the actual poll results, it was really close, being either 0.3% or 4.5%. So yeah, really close. The reality is that we discussed it, and essentially he says that we feel like it could just be this result over and over again, and then you'll be stuck in the same problem.
I don't want to be repetitive, but again, that goes with my thought I should have refined them both more.
Yeah, maybe. Or this is discounting the fact that we could look at refining both skills to present them together. We've been really conscious from the start of the process that tribalism could occur, where players could have a favorite skill pitch and that they love and want to see it added to the game, while other players have another that they would also like to see added to the game. Suddenly you get to see a very heated discussion, and this could continue indefinitely. When we looked into the data from the polls, sailing did win, albeit by a small margin. When you took into account the potential votes from those who voted for taming, it puts sailing a bit further ahead. When you look at people who voted just for shamanism but selected multiple choices, it also puts sailing a bit further ahead.
I didn't know. We didn't know, you guys.
That is true.
I voted for everyone. I didn't realize.
We did not know.
I wanted all of them to be refined so I can have more detail.
Overall,
anyway, I just want to reiterate that.
We felt that it was the safest choice to go ahead with skill that the majority of players accepted. As a community manager, being in this situation, I hate it. I would love for us to turn around and do everything to make everyone happy, but we can't.
I will say they make a good point where they said that it is a skill that majority of players accepted, even if it wasn't our favorite. That's why I'm not too disappointed. I would have accepted it.
The reason I hate this is because it's like they're like scared of getting the same result. It's like, okay, if you get the same result, then it's like, oh, for sure, then this skill is definitely the favorite. Then why don't we just go with it anyways?
True.
I don't know. They're just like, oh, I'm scared this might happen, so we're just not even gonna, give it a chance. It's like, okay. And also, they're just assuming everyone that voted for taming would vote exactly how the majority voted this time around for those other two skills.
I also think that's funny because I feel like a lot of people have voted taming liked shamanism more than sailing.
Yeah, that's how I feel as well. I mean,
I could totally be wrong. That's just the people I've spoken to, but
yeah, I don't know. It just seems like I don't know if you would call it like a cop-out answer. Either way, it doesn't seem like a sufficient answer. It just seems like they're like, oh, this might be too hard, so we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah. They say refinement is going to last a few months. We're not going to just jump into presenting a fleshed-out sailing design to you in 2 weeks' time. That's not realistic. It's more likely to be 3 or 4 months, or 3 or more months, rather, depending on how things go and how much information we get back from you as you help us design it. It's a really good opportunity for us to focus on our efforts towards that and try to make sailing the absolute best without distracting and potential of being stuck in development limbo. Fingers crossed that over the course of the next few months, we can show just how great sailing can be.
Mm-hmm. Not my favorite answer. I kind of liked Elena's more.
Yeah.
So Elena said, I think the big thing is that this is OSRS's first new skill in 10 years. This is a massive, massive project. And if we tried to juggle 2 pitches in the refinement stage at once, it wouldn't be ideal. This deserves our full attention. So even if we were to refine both, one would have to come first. I wish that they could have just done that then. But I like that at least, I feel like she acknowledged the why didn't you refine both better than Aiza did?
Yeah, I guess so. I still also think obviously, Jagex is understaffed. Like, that's pretty well known that they just don't have that many people that work there.
Despite being a over $100 million company.
Well, many hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
But I think also I still kind of just don't care about that answer. I kind of would just rather be like, all right, then spend,
Then
two
spend a year
weeks, and then spend
doing it.
2 weeks doing this, and then 2 weeks doing the other one, and then present both of them, not as in depth, like fully fleshed out things.
That's what I was thinking.
But
like they could just develop it a little bit.
Yeah, just two better, slightly more developed, like overhead views of both of them, so we could like get a better idea of what each of them entails, because that's like explaining the entire plot of Lord of the Rings in like a sentence. Like, wow, that sounds really dumb. And it's like, oh, actually, that's actually one of the best trilogies ever made.
Mm-hmm.
You just needed a little
Nerd
more.
alert.
You just needed like a little more
More
storytelling and detailing to
Yeah.
go into what is actually being told.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of the skills needed.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like you're selling the other skills short for no reason.
Yeah. One thing I did like, though, she said that doesn't mean that shamanism is going to be hidden away in a cupboard never to be reviewed again.
Does.
Hey, I hope not.
Yeah, sure.
Because it was their idea. It was their passionate, like, their skill that they came up with.
Yeah.
So that gives me a little more hope. But yeah, she said that actively means that we're going to look at shamanism. It might be quite far down the line. So that's not saying it's not happening.
None of these people will be working there and potentially alive by the time this
happening,
happens.
just not yet.
I think
in
we'll all
2
be
decades
dead
when
of old
shamanism
age.
comes out. Oh man.
Yeah,
oh man.
There's so many things that they've said that about that you literally could not keep track.
When are we gonna get those dogs?
I mean, there's so many things. So many things.
Right.
And then Mod Husky finishes off by saying, we had a lot of changes to the polling process we talked about a year ago, where the whole point was to talk to players ahead of time. That's
before they give their really fleshed out designs.
Yes. That's been a thing we've done for 9 years. So players at this point are very used to expecting very fleshed out ideas where they can talk and nitpick about the details. The point of the initial poll that we put to the players was really to find out what kind of behavior you wanted for the skill. We got the initial vote of 80% plus support. And after that, it was like deciding if you want to go to a pizza restaurant, steakhouse, or somewhere for chicken. Wow.
You don't like this comparison?
Not even close.
Oh.
You can argue
I get
about
it.
what you want for food when you actually get there, the smaller details of what you actually want. I think this is something that our players aren't actually used to. I think this is a very wrong
okay. I mean,
metaphor.
I kind of agree with the metaphor a little bit, but tell me what you think.
I mean, that'd be like, all right, cool. Do you want to go to a steakhouse every day for the next like month or 2 straight?
Oh.
Because that's how long
I get it.
That's how long these skills take. Like you're like, oh, I'm gonna go do fishing. And then you're like done. Like, no, you go do fishing, you do like 2,000 games of whatever, or fish minnows for 100,000 minnows. It's like, that's not the same. You don't like, oh, I'm going to go head out and get a chicken for 30 minutes. Like, no one does a skill for 30 minutes.
Robert does not like this metaphor.
So ridiculous. Such an equation or equation, or is that a word? That should be a word.
Equation.
Yeah, either way.
Equating things.
Equating eating, which is something you need to do and usually doesn't take that long and is usually a fun experience, to a skill that could take hundreds or, I don't know, thousands of hours.
I mean, love how much you hate this metaphor.
It's just so ridiculous.
You have such strong feelings about it.
It just seems like, I don't know, maybe he plays the game a different way, but no one I know just goes and like, in the amount of time you eat a chicken, goes and does a skill. One Slayer task takes longer than eating a chicken.
It so literally, I love it.
You could eat a pizza and a steak and a chicken and still not be done with a Slayer task.
So what you're saying is they're making it seem like it's a very casual decision when in fact it's going to have a huge impact on the game and be a part of it forever.
Yeah,
basically.
It's
a much bigger deal than deciding what you want for dinner.
Yeah, exactly. It just seems like a really ridiculous thing to compare it to.
Yeah.
I don't know. it's actually so ridiculous. I can't believe he made that
Robert, the king of metaphors, by the way,
Yeah,
is criticizing.
I don't even know if I would ever be able to come up with such a sick metaphor in my life.
You could have some weird ones. You're like, that's like you had cupcakes at home. Someone offers you bread. Sometimes your metaphors, I don't even know where you're going with them. They just make me hungry. They're always food related.
I agree.
I'm like, why are you talking about brownies? And I want brownies.
Yeah, this would be like deciding what you want to eat on your diet that's going to last 4 months. That's what it's actually like.
Yeah, no one wants to commit to that.
Yeah. Either way, there's a ton of stuff like this. That's why we said we're not going to go over all of them because, one, they're like divisive. Obviously, no one's going to agree with everything the mods have to say.
I thought you were agreeing with everything the mods had to say.
Even though I am being critical, I'm glad they're giving answers.
No, it's better than just like not saying anything.
Yeah, so I am glad that they're at least trying and stuff like that. And usually I do like what Mod Husky has to say because usually he cares less about what the community is like whining about. But
which is Robert always being like, well, they should stop polling.
Yeah, but that's just that answer was just kind of ridiculous. But we do have question 2. They say none of the skills got to 70% in the which concepts do you like question. I don't think that was ever a problem. I don't think anyone expected it to get to 70%.
No, that would have been kind of insane if something was that clear of a winner.
No.
I'm sure that was the hope.
Also, that's the thing mostly for polls, not for multiple choice questions.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it was mostly just even Madalena here says it's a traditional yes or no vote. So it's not, these aren't yes or no votes. These are multiple choice.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit different.
Yeah.
So skipping a little bit to question 4, you mentioned before this is the first of the new skills. Does this mean for future pitches, there's a chance for shamanism to be pitched again? And if so, would you offer the next pitch or would you prefer to offer 3 brand new pitches instead? So Madalena starts out by saying, I believe what we said in our statement on Tuesday was that it's in the backlog, which means that we will revisit at some point. It's not to say it will definitely happen if sailing fills the blog. I don't know how far back we'll go or if we'll come with other pitches as well. What we mean by it's in the backlog is that we're going to revisit it and we're going to have a proper look at it. It could be after sailing does pass. We could keep working on sailing, develop it fully and release it. We could go, you have a new school. You have a new skill. Do you want another? And offer shamanism.
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely feel a certain way about these answers.
Okay. Should we read more of them?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So Mod Husky continued. Depends on how we get there. If we get to the point where sailing doesn't make it through the green light, anyway we approach this, even if shamanism's on the backlog, it's important that we touch base with players and ask, hey, would you like us to revisit previously pitched skills or would you like us to come up with something else entirely? I'm not opposed to letting the players decide. Saying the line I said in the pre-recorded Q&A, this has to be a skill designed by the community for the community. That's why every single step of the way we're asking what you want and getting your opinions. But yeah, I mean, I like their answers, how there's like, it's on the backlog. It's basically, it would probably be a backup. I feel like they didn't, I mean, Elena, I guess, kind of acknowledged that it could be a skill later on after sailing.
Yeah.
But it kind of like worried me that it could be so close to winning and that we could get a new skill. And there's like, we're just going to tell you 3 brand new pitches instead. And then just shamanism will be completely forgotten.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really care because, like I said, I liked all 3 of them. And so I'm sure they could come up with 3 more.
That's true. And I don't want to be like one of those people who held on to warding or sailing for years after hearing about it.
And things always change. And if we're being honest, the next time they come out with another skill is probably going to be in literally 6 or 7 years.
It could be really cool.
The chances of us even barely remembering that this stuff ever happened or that the game exists is like not super high.
Right.
So I'm not really worried about that. On top of that, this kind of gives me the same feeling that I felt like the other week, where it's like, why are you even pretending like these are real things?
Like you think just shamanism's done.
Yeah, I'd rather than be like, yeah, the chances of us getting another skill entailing any of these things is pretty low, and we're just mostly focusing on this. So, yeah, just any questions that regarding like the chances of the other skills returning in whatever way
is they're just like leading us on a little bit.
Yeah, it's practically 0.
Stop leading me on. I like shamanism.
Like it's the same metaphor we used before, where it's like your mom's all like, "Yeah, sure, we'll get the gift.
Let's go with these metaphors.
We'll get you the GI Joe. Next time."
Oh, and then they never do. There's no next time.
It's like by the time you remember that happened, you're 24 talking to your therapist like this
about why you're terrified GI Joes.
Yeah, like this, it's not gonna happen. Your mom would have been like, maybe not in the moment because you would have cried probably, but would have been better off being like, no, you already got this gift at home. we don't have enough money for this new gift, so we're not getting it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have enough time to get you this gift.
I get it. They're like, they have to be people pleasers because people in this community be crazy sometimes on Twitter.
Yeah, where they're like trying to like placate these like psychopaths on Reddit, where it's like, I'd rather you just be like, no, we're focusing a lot on this thing, so we're probably going to get to this in a really long time from now, so don't expect it.
I wonder if they could just be being honest, like they are genuinely thinking maybe in a few years.
I think if they think that, then...
I think they could be hopeful about it, but it's not the most realistic.
If they legitimately think that, then I think I would think less of them.
Jesus.
Just because I think any realistic person knows that that's not going to happen.
I still hope it's going to.
No, yeah, I don't know.
You could judge me. I don't care.
I don't know what content they've ever been like, oh, yeah, this is definitely going to happen soon.
To be fair, they didn't say soon, at least.
Well, this is going to happen ever.
Ever in this millennia.
Ever, literally ever. There's just so much content that like goes against what they're saying that it's just like, I don't know why people are just like enjoyed being lied to like this.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather just them be like, no, this isn't happening, and you're an adult that can understand timelines.
I'm torn because that's true. I wish that they should be straight up. At the same time, I am falling for the potentially being led on. Like, I'm being strung along and I know it, but
Yeah.
I'm okay with the maybe potential of shamanism.
Like, there's a lot of people right now that are like, oh yeah, maybe in a few months, you know.
Oh, I know, not a few months. The sailing wouldn't even come out till next year.
No, there's I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, maybe in a few months they'll come back and revisit that skill. And,
oh, I think it would be like 2 years from now.
Maybe
they'd mention it.
They even have questions about it in here, talking about adding taming and stuff onto the other skills. They're like, oh yeah, maybe in 5 months they'll talk about adding taming as an add-on to the game.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that next. We don't really have to totally go over it, but a popular suggestion was that Hunter could like have a taming expansion to it.
Yeah,
which I think would be so much fun.
That shamanism could be an expansion for Herblore.
I kind of disagree with that one.
Sure.
Shamanism sounds like its own skill. Taming and Hunter I could actually see together, but somebody did like it was Mod Husky pointed out that specifically they are very different definitions. Someone who's going out to hunt a creature is doing a very different thing to someone who's taming a creature.
Yeah.
Which is a really good point. One's about using creatures as a resource. One is about working with a creature and utilizing its skills. So to me, it says that these two skills have a lot of potential to work together in certain ways, but I think that would feel weird for someone who used a bunch of bird snares or caught some salamanders to suddenly skip ahead to being able to tame a black dragon to use in a dungeon. I think Hunter deserves love. I just don't think taming is the answer to that. Sometimes when people want to discredit an idea, they grab low-hanging fruit, and this very much felt like a don't vote taming. It's just an expansion of Hunter. It's a bit more complicated than that.
Yeah, and Madaiza even says, I think that people are excited for content and loved specific aspects of taming that they would want to see in the game sooner rather than later. With it being the last option, it probably is just clutching at straws to get it added as an expansion. And yeah, and Husky even finally says, I didn't like all the hate that taming got. While I did the sailing video for the pitch, taming was my favorite skill. It was the one that I wanted to be in the game the most. It is what it is, the whole point of putting things in front of the communities to move in the direction they want, and I'm happy we're moving with sailing. And I agree.
I thought that would be a good expansion to Hunter until reading these. I'm like, that's a really good point, that it is not Hunter at all.
Yeah.
Hunting down animals to use them to explode your enemies is different from working with animals.
Yeah, definitely.
They are coworkers in this situation.
I totally agree, though, that while sailing wasn't my favorite, I'm totally happy and fine moving forward with it and everything like that. But yeah, I don't know. This is cool, but yeah, it just seems like they're totally different and they shouldn't be added on. But I'm sure there's some people thinking like, oh yeah, maybe we'll see it, soon-ish. Like,
I don't think, they kind of just straight up say no to that one. The Hunter expansion.
Yeah, I know.
It is, them saying it like that, it does kind of feel like maybe, oh yeah, we were just making a desperate attempt to get the best of both worlds, Yeah. Some version of taming plus a new skill.
Yeah, I agree. They also have another question.
This is moving on to a sailing Q&A specifically.
A sailing question, number 2. Says, one of the biggest issues we've seen players talk about in regards to sailing is the core gameplay loop.
Kind of what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, because that is going to be the most important thing for any skill. And they say with shamanism, it was a lot easier to highlight potential core gameplay loops, whereas the sailing, it's not as easy. What are we doing about this?
Mod Husky starts out by saying, I think this is a byproduct of how shamanism was a production skill. Gathering production skills for the most part work in much the same way. You've got a repeatable process to gather materials, and there are various nodes across the game. People already understand how these work. They already understand where the XP comes from. While utility skills are much more varied and unclear. This is definitely an area of sailing we discussed a lot before the pitches, and we felt it wasn't important to get hard stuck on where exactly the XP comes from. I'd like to pause there. What do you think of that? Do you think that was not an important thing to get stuck on?
I
feel like I could see you being like, they should have been stuck on it.
Well, that's not even the main problem I have with that sentence. I just think he's wrong because, I mean, if you look at Slayer, like what is Slayer?
Killing monsters for XP.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's like a fairly easy to understand.
What's fishing? Going fishing for XP. Like a lot of these skills can be summed up in one sentence.
True.
And the fact that you can't sum up sailing in one sentence is troubling.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, you go sailing. Not really. You go sailing and then you go and do stuff that randomly pops up along the way.
And that gives you XP.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do even like continue on. We touched on the idea of doing activities at sea to get sailing XP, but we had seen some criticism about that. That's something we definitely need to focus that is something we need to have as a focus moving on for refinement. Something that will help cement sailing as a skill to those who don't think it currently is because they can't see where getting XP from. Basically, it's kind of a non-answer. They don't know where the XP is going to come from.
Yeah.
And they're working on it.
It's also, it sounds cool, like the idea of sailing, and then like that gives you XP because you don't want it to just be like agility. So you also want things to happen. But it's also, you don't want it to just be, like
random events
Slayer
over and over
on the sea. So you also want to get experience just from sailing. So it's like they want kind of it to be both ways, which I think is going to be really, really tough to do.
It's going to be a tough line to walk.
Yeah. Also, there's a lot of questions that make that because of that. And like it's like things like, oh, are you going to get majority XP from sailing or from doing stuff? Can you target the things you do? Mm-hmm. It's like so far they've said, oh, things happen while you're sailing.
We really don't know what that's going to mean.
Yeah.
Question number 3. I actually like this one a lot. Feels as if people are more excited about the parts of sailing that aren't the actual sailing parts, but rather islands and the potential for more area expansion. What are we going to do to convince players that's fun to sail?
Sure.
That is such a good question. Because actually, yeah, you talk to people about sailing. They're like, what are you excited for? To explore new islands.
I don't think there's anything. I think this is kind of the wrong approach.
Really?
Honestly. Because what are you going to do to make agility fun?
That's true.
Nothing. Because agility is not an engaging thing unless it's a mini game.
It's kind of like everything in RuneScape where maybe we're not having fun. We just like the rewards that come after.
Yeah. I mean,
like agility sucks, but then you get enough marks of grace to like change your graceful color, and you're like, all right, that was fun.
Yeah,
let's do it again.
Yeah, sometimes I guess the skills in the game are about the destination and not the journey.
That's
because
true.
Agility and like fishing, all those things are pretty boring unless you do like one of the specific mini games. Unless they make sailing itself feel like a mini game. Then
some people would still be annoyed with.
Which, yeah, a lot of people would hate. Then
I'd
maybe
love
that'd
it.
be fun. Because then it's like, oh, if you're like sailing, then you gotta like do something when you get to the rapids or something.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, maybe that would be interesting. But again, that's not what you were saying as an open sea or anything like that. It's a completely different thing.
Honestly, their questions are just them saying how that's something that they have to focus on. I just kind of wanted to open that for a discussion with you.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was an interesting question.
I honestly think that might be the wrong place to focus. Because like I said, like you don't go and make agility interesting. You go and
you just need to have a good core game loop.
Yeah, you need to make a rewarding gameplay loop. And then if you want a specific part of it to be interesting, then maybe make a mini game just for that.
That's fair. Okay.
Because that's exactly what they did for agility, exactly what they did for fishing.
But those are like such old skills. At the same time, I think of it as like.
But those are new mini games.
Well, yeah. But I mean, like, to make it like different, like the gameplay loop. Is like it's a new game. They want to do it totally different. Make it more fun.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that it's impossible. I just think they're trying to like put a lot of work into something that doesn't have a good chance or seen success. Like we don't have any skill like that.
Yeah.
Like we don't have a skill where it's like, oh, this monotonous thing is actually fun.
I feel like Slayer's the closest because you get a variety.
I guess so,
but even then, it's still just killing things.
A lot of times, you're just sitting there with your melee prayer on.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. And then, like, yeah, I mean, like rune crafting. Like, usually that's pretty boring, but the new minigame makes it fun.
Yeah, right?
So it's like, maybe just don't...
add a minigame soon after.
Don't focus on the things that doesn't matter. I mean, I don't know. If they do it, it would be good. If they don't, it will suck. Is what
It'd be
it feels like.
interesting to see.
That's what it feels like. I don't. I could be wrong. I'd like to be wrong,
Yeah.
but it just doesn't seem that way.
Question number 4, I liked. I'm not going to go too far into their answers, but someone said, "Is all new content going to be locked behind sailing?" Mod Husky said, "Locking content behind content is the literal game."
True.
True, but they do reiterate that, like everything else in the game, stuff has different requirements. Not everything is going to have sailing locking it, but stuff that it makes sense, sailing is going to be blocking it. And that's just like honestly a good answer. You can't have a new skill in the game and be like, and no quest will ever be affected by it ever.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, I don't know what this idea of content being locked behind something is like a problem.
Yeah, that literally is the game. Like whenever I first became a member, it was just like me looking up stuff that was locked behind other stuff and being like, all right, how do I get to there?
Yeah. I think like in a lot of games, a lot of people feel like all content should be accessible to all players, and that's just not correct. Mm-hmm. There's going to be stuff that really hardcore players are going to have access to that you're not going to.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that is it for the mod Q&A this week.
Yeah, like we said, there was a lot to go over. So if you want more in-depth answers and see what exactly the mods had to say, you can either watch the video or you can check out the full transcribed list that we were going through.
You should also check it out because they did share some art from community members, including the Protect from Bread parade that somebody drew some art for.
Yeah, Protect from Bread.
Honestly, I just want the prayer book to be added so I could get Protect from Bread prayer.
For all you gluten-free, this is a big prayer for you. Finally, we're going to touch on something that I think should be touched on. I think there's two things. One is going to be the botting issue that a lot of people have brought up recently. Mm-hmm. If you've looked at Reddit in the past couple days, it seems like literally every other post is a post about bots and how they're not being taken care of. Which, I mean, has always kind of been a problem. I don't know why people think it's a new problem or why it's coming to a head currently, because it seems just as bad as always. Like I said the other week, it's almost impossible to go to a world where the bosses in the wilderness aren't being camped by bots. That's kind of like something that people think is new.
It's always kind of been a thing, but it's worse now, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
I never really noticed bots, to be fair.
Yeah.
I'm in my own little world here.
I don't know. You can go to anything in the game and there's bots. So
true.
The fact that there's nothing being done about them is kind of like old news, but I guess it's kind of being brought to light a little bit more recently, which I guess is good, but also, I mean, I doubt anything will change, so maybe it's bad. Who knows? But along with that, we have other, obviously, talks about people getting banned recently.
We're not going to get too into what happened. We're mostly just going to read the post about this.
Yeah.
You can find everything you need on Reddit.
Yeah, this isn't the podcast for that. We just are bringing people news and stuff like that, so you're aware of things. But either way, people have been getting banned recently, including bots. They've banned 100 accounts. This part is probably the meat of what this is, and this is a post they made just today called Regarding Recent Allegations, if you want to read the whole thing. I'm only going to read the middle part.
Okay.
So it says, separately, last week we banned over 100 accounts for the use of account services. So for anyone wondering, it is illegal to have your account be borrowed for account services if you're paying for them.
That's different from like your friend going on it.
Yeah, even if you're paying for them with gold or with money, it is the same thing. You're allowed to share accounts with friends just for friendly sharing.
It is a little bit of a gray area to be like, when does the line drawn?
Yeah, which is also another problem. But either way,
they need to be clear on that.
If you are sharing your account specifically with a person you don't really know, or even if you do know,
for the purpose of spending money,
for the express purpose of them achieving something on your account, that is not allowed.
Yes.
This is mainly attaining to things like,
Inferno
Capes is the best one. You can buy them for like $200 or a couple 100 million gold. But that's illegal. So you can read more about this on the Rules of RuneScape section and the following news post. We can confirm that thorough independent checks have been made, and these bans are correct and have been upheld for these 100 accounts. There is substantial evidence to validate that they are in line with our standard procedures, and each ban has sufficient supporting in-game evidence to warrant the actions taken. Though, whilst our investigations are ongoing, and this is probably the most important sentence to me, we have opted to change the duration to temporary. Should repeat offenses occur, permanent bans will be applied to any accounts involved.
Yes.
So that's why this paragraph that I read, I think, is the most important for me because it has everything that I'm interested in. In that one, like we said, they are very wishy-washy on their applying of the force for any of these accounts, which is weird. So for the reason that this is weird for me is because they have said very clearly that they have these 100 accounts that after thorough independent checks, verbatim, were made, have been correctly banned and been upheld. Why are they not being permanently banned forever?
They're doing a new investigation, but we don't know why.
But they already have thorough investigation done and substantial.
They say, unquote, we skipped over it, but they said that new information has come forward, so they're doing a new investigation.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, hold tight and wait and see. But for now, they are not permanently banned.
Yeah, which goes against their own rules of RuneScape, which they even link here.
Even say on there. I don't know. It's just very confusing. No one really knows what's going on.
Yeah, so for anyone wondering, apparently you can use services and then maybe only get banned for a little bit.
Do not listen to Robert. Don't do that.
I mean, I'm just going off their post here. So
don't actually do that.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, that's one of the most frustrating things is that they don't know their own rules. That'd be like, I don't know, a cop being like, you know what? You're free to go. We got all the evidence we need, but you can just, we'll call you back later if things change. Which, I mean, you know, maybe happens sometimes, but it's definitely not the rule.
Yeah. They just seemingly don't care about the rules right now.
Yeah, they just seemingly don't care, which is weird because we've had different mods say different things about different rules, especially along the lines of account sharing. Like some say it's allowed, some say it's not allowed. In their own rules of RuneScape, I'm pretty sure it says it's not allowed, but it happens all the time. Obviously, a really weird situation right now where 100 counts have been confirmed after thorough independent checks and investigations that they've all, gone against the rules and should be banned with sufficient supporting in-game evidence to warrant the actions taken. But they're not going to ban them.
Yeah.
I think this just makes them look really bad because it just confirms that they don't know what their own rules are and how to enforce them.
It's been just a really awkward situation.
Yeah. So just really, really, really weird situation. Obviously, we're not condoning any weird cheating things, but
Robert's joking. Do not go and buy an Infernal Cape, please.
Yeah, but I am making
do not tell me.
I'm making it apparent that apparently they don't care. So I don't know. Maybe just do whatever you want.
Yeah, but there's also been an issue where people have been harassing the mods a lot this week.
Well, yeah, that literally happens every week.
Well, yeah, but specifically because of this issue, and I saw a few that were just straight up death threats and stuff. So reminder, guys, don't harass people because you're upset. Ask questions for sure. You don't have to be violent though.
Yeah.
And threaten people. That's just too much.
Obviously don't threaten people, especially the wrong people. I don't know how.
Everyone's tweeting at Mod Ash he's involved, and he's he keeps retweeting the same thing, being there's an investigation. I'm not a part of the investigation.
Yeah, I don't know how anyone knows who is and isn't involved. Most of the mods, I don't know how they would be involved at all.
It's honestly probably a team outside of the mods, because if they're seeing if the mod's messed up, why would they have their coworkers look into it? It's probably an HR situation.
They have a security team.
Yeah, so, it's probably them.
Yeah, I don't know why you're tweeting at any of the mods that are known, because they're just developers and community managers. They're not ban lords.
Exactly. But if you have any information about any of these banned accounts, you could send it to tipoff@jagex.com.
Yeah.
Yep.
Either way.
Sounds like such a weirdly serious website.
Really, really, really frustrating situation, because, I don't know, it just seems like breaking the rules doesn't matter anymore. But regardless of how you feel, we're also not talking about any particular people at all in this post. We're just referencing the
We're talking about the post only. We are not getting into the drama.
Yeah, I couldn't care less about who does or doesn't get banned. It just seems weird that people that have these 100 accounts that have actual evidence against them don't get banned.
Yeah.
Just seems really weird. I feel like if you're, aimbot hacking in Counter-Strike, you would just be banned. I don't know why you wouldn't be banned. But
anyway.
Either way, moving on to our questions.
Yes. Our first question this week is going to be from Harger. All right. So Harger asked on Discord. Well, not really asked, but had a Hunter Edition pitch. So this would be Gnome Aviation Hunting. The idea is to make this the most skill-based activity in OSRS. Players will learn how to fly a gnome glider into new generated areas of sky in which they hunt flying enemies, anything from a small, helpless sparrow to a dragon.
Weird.
I do like how sailing is making the sea become relevant, and Harger's like, let's make the sky relevant too.
Yeah.
In order to make it the most skill-based activity to date, a third dimension is added, forcing players to move up and down. This is made possible by an elevation gauge on the gnome glider goggles, and when an enemy is in sight, a plus or minus sign followed by a number indicates the height at which the enemy is above or below the player. In order to attack the enemy, the player must be at the same height for melee-based hunter techniques, or a different given distance for either range or mage-based hunter techniques. For smaller enemies, a player simply shoots an arrow, attacks with a sword or close-range net, or uses magic. For the dragon hunts, it is recommended to fight as a team, using various techniques of combat and hunting optimized in the sky, such as harpoon cannons, net-launching bows, and magic-based stunning spells. Also, a player might need to go close with the sword to pierce the dragonet's weak points, like its eyes, nose, or ears. I know this might have problems due to the clunky nature of the OSRS game engine, but if it were released, it might win over some skeptics who think OSRS is not skill-based, like Rob.
Yeah.
Dang, you just got called out at the end there. How do you feel about that?
It's not.
Okay, whatever.
The game operates on a random number generator.
Actually.
So I don't know if there's any way to disprove that. But
No, but the who say that it's not a skill-based game. Because you've said that before, how like skill doesn't really matter in this game.
No, yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. Well, that is still your rebuttal.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Fine.
I'm saying it's any game that's based on a random number generator can't entirely be based on skill. Obviously, you can be good at the game. I'm not saying obviously a cold one is a god at the game.
Yeah.
He does things that I couldn't.
And
obviously.
Boon Babe, she's a god.
Yeah, I'm not saying that to any degree. I'm not taking away from these people. It's just if you were to compare it to a skill-based game, it's completely different. It's not even on remotely the same playing field.
Robert doubles down.
Yeah, I have an opinion, and it will not be changed unless something substantially changes.
Try again next week, Harger. You tried it. But what do you think of this?
And even to further that point.
Oh, God, there's more.
I was going to say that this seems like it would be feasible, the dragon stuff, for anyone that is familiar with, there's a World of Warcraft boss called Deathwing. He's a giant dragon.
I love the name Deathwing.
And it's actually pretty cool because there's an entire boss fight where you're actually just scaling his back while he's flying.
What?
Yeah, and like he's so big, he has enemies that spawn from him to fight you.
I love it. That sounds fun.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I was thinking because obviously you couldn't be fighting him, the way you were mentioning, like with critical weak points and stuff like that. In the normal game. So I think it'd be cool if you like separated the different body parts as different fights and stuff like that.
Whoa, like fighting one arm.
Yeah, like that would be
It's kind of like Ulp's hand.
More feasible where it's like maybe you're fighting just his head or just parts of his body at one time. Because then I think you could do that with the RuneScape engine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that'd be way more feasible. I think it would be cool. I don't know. It feels more like it'd be such a large boss fight that it'd be like a raid essentially, which I think people would get tired of.
A raid in the sky.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty baller.
I think it'd be cool, but I think because it's just one boss fight, maybe it would get boring.
Mm-hmm.
But
either
way,
in general, like Hunter in the air.
In general, I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be more PVM. I don't really think it'd be a Hunter edition at all. This just sounds like straight up like PVM.
The way I'm thinking of it too is also more PVM. I think it's because we're both kind of focused on the dragon part, but that's not like a criticizing way to do it. I like the idea of utilizing the sky in the game.
I think it'd be really cool if this was a boss fight that required Hunter.
That would be fun.
Yeah, because you know how like
maybe you have to like shoot an at one point. That's the Hunter requirement done.
Maybe, or like you know how like to be really good at chambers, you almost either have to be like just a god or you have to have 91 herb lore.
Yeah, which sucked for the longest time. 90 Herblore, though, by the way.
Okay, I always think 91. But yeah, 90 Herblore in order to make Overload pluses, obviously.
Which are so necessary.
They're very necessary, but they do come from bosses. So like I said, if you're really good, you could just kill Tecton. He drops one. Or you can kill Muttadil's, Vanguards. Yeah, all those drop one. And other ones even have chances of dropping one as well.
Yeah.
So you could just do that, obviously. But most people, I think, unless you're really, really experienced, will just make the overloads. Especially if you are in a team.
Yes.
So
there's always the designated overload maker.
I think it'd be cool if there were parts of the boss fight that required Hunter, and maybe the boss fight itself or the raid itself required High Hunter, like maybe 90 or something like that. Similar to Herblore.
So it feels more like end game to really succeed.
Yeah, because there's not really any raids that require high other stuff. Like, except for maybe TOA, it does help a lot to have high mining.
True. It's not a game break. It'd kind of be like you can still do it, but the higher Hunter, the better.
Yeah, exactly how how Chambers is, where you can do it without high Herblore.
But you should just wait.
It's a lot more easy to do.
That is a good incentive to get your Hunter up.
Yeah, so I think that's a good idea to add that type of stuff to boss fights or to dungeons because it seems appropriate and would make it, like unique.
Yeah, I agree. I think that just utilizing the sky in some way would be a fun idea. I'm not sure about all of it, kind of like Robert was saying. I think PVM more is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
But I like just adding an extra element, and it would make gnome gliders even more relevant.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool, but I do think it would be a tough thing for them to do, especially because like that's what they're running into now as an issue with sailing. Like
how to do it?
Yeah, having fluid movement in the game of OSRS is really, really hard to imagine.
True.
Which is really hard to do.
So they probably would only be able to add it as a boss fight because then it would be hard to keep doing it with other like animals and stuff.
Yeah, it'd
be like a one-time fight.
It'd be tough to have your character move in a fluid object like the air or like the ocean.
True. We'll have to see how sailing goes and we can answer it better, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Next up is Matt from Instagram. Thoughts on a new wilderness in the desert? I think it's kind of lame that there's just one wilderness. The desert makes sense to have a wilderness section, as historically deserts are full of bandits. So, a few features. The desert wilderness would fill up the entire map that is blacked out. The wilderness would stretch from one ocean to another west to east, and would connect Sophonim to a bustling and desert port city at the southernmost point in the map. The wilderness would thus start at the southern gates of Sophonim and end at the gates of the southern city. Southern city can thus only be accessed by traversing the Great Wilderness. This city will be as large as Ardoin and resemble Egypt's Alexandria, with a lighthouse, a library, and a huge trading port. It'll be very important for the sailing skill.
Yeah.
I actually think that this is a good idea to add a second wilderness.
I think it's cool.
I think that's a good location for two because there's so much blank space down there.
Yeah, there is. I think this is a good idea.
And there's the extra deadly factor. It's all like the wilderness, plus you're dying of heat exhaustion at the same time.
Yeah.
So you have to like be bringing like water with you everywhere too.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think I like this idea because it does remind me a lot of Black Desert for anyone that has played that game, Black Desert Online.
I've heard of it, not played it.
Yeah, so in Black Desert, pretty much anywhere you go outside of like the standard, starting areas after level 56, people can initiate PvP on you.
So it'd be kind of like if there's RuneScape with guns anywhere.
Yeah.
Like Ivor said last week.
There are repercussions for fighting anywhere, but I don't really think that would work well in RuneScape. I meant like having like a hybrid system of that where like maybe in certain areas, like in expanded areas, possibly in the desert, you could have it where like maybe anyone could initiate PvP on you with maybe some penalties. And on top of that, there would have to be like a really good incentive. So maybe like there's really good XP rates for certain skills in like these areas. And so it's like, oh, do I want to get, double the normal rate? Then I got to go to the PvP area.
Yeah.
And also, I think it would have to be singles because I hate the idea of multi. It seems like it just is a really big fest of getting killed by like 5 people by yourself.
Oh, new wilderness with no clans.
Yeah.
Jumping you.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I also really like the idea they said like basically this oasis underneath it all that has like Alexandria's library and stuff. That sounds really cool.
It actually really reminds me of Black Desert in that way because there is, for instance, one of the main drawbacks of just randomly killing whoever you want in Black Desert is there's a karma system.
Oh.
And so like if you kill a random person that is like just, going to like kill mobs to get XP or loot, then you actually get negative karma. And if you get negative enough karma, you become like exiled. And you can only trade merchants that are in like this desert oasis.
Oh, so you can just go to this town and trade.
Yeah, and it's called like the Assassin's Hideout or something.
Oh, I like that. That's cool.
And anytime you go into any of the other zones, your name is like red and you're like known as like an assassin.
So in this game, it's being skulled.
Yeah, it's like, exactly. It's like being skulled. Like everyone knows that you're a dude that just kills fools.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it actually reminded me a lot of that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Obviously not 1-to-1. I don't think that would work well
for
RuneScape.
But similarities.
But yeah, I think like a high risk area like that would be cool.
I think it totally makes sense down there too. There's the whole black area of the map. It's like we need something.
Yeah, that's why I think like parts of the wilderness is cool. Where it's like I think some of the bigger incentives is like the Slayer caves. Like I think Slayer in the wilderness is pretty cool.
Yeah, the desert one could have like cow fights and stuff.
That being said, the reason it's like weird in RuneScape is like it seems like there's not enough incentive to go there, and the places that there are enough incentive are just camped by bots and clans.
True. So it'd be tough to combat that.
They would need to, have ways to do that. Like there's no real way to incentivize. Like there's nothing disincentivizing for that kind of play, which there needs to be if there were an area like this, which I think would be cool.
They could just make it single combat.
Yeah, I think
so. It would be a different wilderness.
Yeah, I think it would need to be like, but also RuneScape has so many weird old mechanics that it's like in Black Desert you can't just teleport away.
True.
You'd have to like run away on your horse. They can
knock
you off your horse. I love how much you're comparing
this to that game now.
Because there's a lot of there's really not too many games that have stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to compare it to anything else. But yeah, I think Black Desert does that really well, which is why I'm comparing it. So I think it's cool though. I think it's cool that like in Black Desert, if someone's at your spot that you really like, if it's like a highly contested area, someone can come over and fight you for it, which I think is cool. Like that's a cool concept to me. But obviously, I think again it would have to be changed for RuneScape, but I think that would be a cool addition.
Yeah, I think that'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
Our final question, would you like to take this one from Ivor? I'm just going to have you read Ivor's questions from now on.
Yeah, our final question is from Ivor. The only reason I'm reading this is because I think it's like a legitimate question that people ask people, and it's not like...
Ivor's not asking in a legitimate way.
Oh, I know. But I'm asking it as if... Because I've had people ask me this in real life before. So it's not like a crazy question.
So you're going to give a real answer.
Yeah, because it's really easy, because we'll see. Yeah. So their question is, where were you on, and this is really only relevant to mostly United States people, but
I think other countries, like...
This maybe affected other countries.
Depends where you lived, how much it affected your childhood, I guess.
Exactly. Like, people in the UK weren't like, oh, I totally remember this day. But
I don't know.
Exactly. So this one is, where were you on 9/11?
Especially Robert.
Especially
that's where the insinuation comes in.
Yeah. But
give your real answer.
It's 9/11/2001. So I was 7.
Yeah. Or about to be 7.
Yeah, which means I was going into 2nd grade. So I had no idea where I was. I was probably playing Ragnarok Online.
Do you remember hearing about it?
Not really.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I was like 5.
When people were like, oh, check this out on the TV, I don't have any memory like that. My memory was like another day. Like I was like almost certainly either playing James Bond or...
Why were you playing James Bond so young?
Oh,
Robert talking about his childhood, he was playing the weirdest games.
I was probably swimming around in a pool. Well, this is September. I think I was probably just barely starting, so I was probably depressed. I was like, I just had a 6 summer, getting ice cream and playing in the pool. I got to go to this lame class. That's probably what I was thinking.
It's the worst of your struggles.
Yeah, I had no immediate thing going on in my head.
Yeah, so many people were like, I remember when it happened and it was a horrible day. I have no memory of it.
No.
I don't remember the first time I ever heard of it. I feel like
The worst
probably years later was my first time ever really thinking about it.
The worst thing that happened to me that year is I probably like fell on my knee or something.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, actually, when I was younger, I fell on the blacktop, and like
scrape your knee.
No, there was like this thing on the blacktop, and I had like this black rock stuck in like my shin for a while. I
was just gonna say we would always have rocks on our playground. If you tripped and fell, sometimes you'd scrape your knee and rocks would be stuck to your knee.
Oh,
it was always gross.
No, I had like this rock stuck in my shin. Like you could see there's like a black thing in my shin.
And how do you get it out?
I don't know if it just like came out.
It's still there.
I don't know if it just came out one day. It's not there anymore, but like I didn't do anything.
We hope it's made its way to your heart.
Oh, you hope it's made its way to my heart?
No, we hope, it's made its way to your heart. Like we hope it's gone.
Okay.
I'm not saying you should die from a rock, Robert.
It definitely sounds like it. Like, all right, we hope you have a blood clot in your brain.
Shut up.
Like, all right.
You saying the falling and hurting your knee reminds me. I just want to tell you guys, if any of you guys grew up with Razor scooters, tell me if this is a thing. I would have recurring bad dreams about me riding a Razor scooter and I go over a bump in the sidewalk that's too big. And if you've ever done that, like you kind of like fly off your scooter.
Yeah.
That used to be a recurring nightmare for me all the time. I had that dream recently. For the first time in a very long time.
I didn't really fall off scooters. I think the most messed up I got was when I was going down the street on my rollerblades, and the road wasn't really like nice. We don't live in a nice area, so there was just like a lot of gravel sticking up out of the pavement. And yeah, I just fell on my knees on the pavement. Just double dusted my knees.
Oh, the skin knees, the worst, man.
Yeah, my knees were gone.
I mean, that would happen to me after scootering.
Yeah.
But it would just be more dramatic because I was coming off a scooter and skinning my knees.
Yeah,
basically, why did children ever wear shorts? It's just like dangerous.
Dude, semi-unrelated, but also related is my cousin, dude. My cousin had a rough childhood, I guess. But either way, we were playing one day. And he was like walking on a cement brick wall.
Oh no!
It wasn't very high. It was probably only like 3 or 4 cement bricks high.
Yeah.
But he like fell, and I guess he fell in like a crazy way because he had like a gigantic gash on the side of his calf. Like it was like a hole.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was crazy.
You saw it happen?
Yeah.
Oh. Was he freaking out?
I don't know. I don't really remember, but it was crazy.
Jeez, that reminds me of whenever I got a cardboard cut yesterday at work.
All right.
Just as bad. That's horrifying.
Yeah, that same cousin also got hit in the back of the head and had like epilepsy in it for a while because he got...
it's that cousin?
Yeah, he was at a piñata party and they hit him in the back of the head and he had like seizures and stuff.
Jesus.
He had a rough childhood, but...
He was going through it.
I just had regular bloody knees, but he had some weird stuff going on.
Yeah, you saying that reminded me of I think it was not Christmas, but going to a party with Robert's family, and a child that was there accidentally threw a golf club and went and hit somebody in the nose.
Oh yeah,
that was nuts.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Stay away from children, guys.
Yeah.
They are a liability.
Either way, that's where I was on 9/11. Just probably playing. Shout out to anyone that has ever played Ragnarok online.
I've heard of it from you.
If you haven't, it has one of the best video game soundtracks.
I was gonna say that one's the good music, right?
Yeah, it has one of the best in my opinion. It is so good. But I wouldn't even play the game. Just check out the soundtrack. But that game's fun. Either way.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Per usual, everyone, including Ivor. Thanks.
Good questions.
For insinuating Robert as a terrorist.
Is that what he is insinuating?
Yes.
Oh, I thought he was just asking to be weird.
No, especially Robert. Just next week he's gonna be like, "Oh, have you guys heard of the Zodiac Killer?" Anyway, where was Robert in California in the 1980s?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I used to ask my dad that because he lived in Northern California in the 80s, and I was like, "There's literally no way for me to know that you're not the Zodiac Killer if you think about it."
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
No one knows.
All right. Well,
anyway,
hopefully you are still here after that weird tangent, but yeah, I think that is going to have to be it for us. Wrapping it up here. This episode is going to be out later than normal, but obviously if you're listening to this...
No, it's not. Last week it was at like 10 p.m.
If you're listening to this, you know that. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Thank you for listening, as always. And make sure to be here next week. We are going to have, obviously, no update, but hopefully we'll have something interesting to talk about.
If you have suggestions what you'd like us to talk about, let us know.
Yeah, and if you want to find anywhere to communicate with us, hang out, play games, or just chat it up, you can find us on any of our socials.
Yeah, so if you want to chat it up, on Twitter and TikTok, we are BoonVape OSRS. On Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube, we are just BoonVape, and I stream 5 days a week at twitch.tv/BoonVape from like 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to around 2 a.m. So come hang out with me. I'm doing my Mech Arena sponsorship reminder, so check that out. I'd really appreciate it, and it's a super fun game, so come play with me. Even if you can't do a sponsorship, like already have an account, I'm still down to play, so hit me up.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Also, shout out to Y last night for stopping by on the stream. That is not their full name. I just read the first few letters of everyone's name and go with that.
Yeah.
Someone stopped by that listens to the podcast and was really nice about it. It was very cool. So shout out, thank you.
Yeah.
So, it always hypes me up. When someone's like, by the way, keep it up. And I'm like, oh.
Thanks again, as always. Hopefully you continue to enjoy it, and we'll see you all
very soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Meet Merp.
Merp.
Hey everyone,
No.
this is Rob.
No, I don't like that.
Welcome to another podcast.
No.
I'll be in your ear today.
Stop it, otherwise I'm putting something in the episode.
No, because we're deleting it.
No.